So we all have this feeling that our story will end with an epic battle between good and evil. Our hero, one of humble beginnings who happens to have the right bloodline secretly, will come forth to lead. He will unite the world in an apocalyptic battle against the forces of evil. Prophecy will be fulfilled, good will triumph over evil, and our hero will rule as king over a new age. And there's a reason why we have this feeling. We've been told this story before. It was called Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter, and Star Wars, and this rather obscure book called the New Testament. But our author likes to surprise us. He likes to break tropes. So I'm suspicious. What if our story isn't heading this way? What if everything we know is a lie? And I mean everything. The bloodlines, the sigils, the gods, the destiny, the prophecies, the importance of kings. What if they don't mean anything? What if mankind has been tricked? What if we, the reader, have been tricked? Let's go back to the beginning. The real beginning. In the beginning, there were the children of the forest, those who sing the song of earth. Now the children of the forest ruled Westeros for 1,000 years. They seem to be powerful telepaths with the ability to enter and control animals, and they can enter and send people dreams called green dreams. The children seem to become hive-minded eventually and enter their trees. Their memories and souls pass into the werewoods and are preserved in what seems to be an eternal state of blended consciousness. When they died, they went into the wood, into leaf and limb and root, and the trees remembered. All their songs and spells, their histories and prayers, everything they knew about the world. Now, if this sounds kind of weird and spacey, it's because our author is also a sci-fi writer, and he repeatedly wrote about hive-minded peoples and blended consciousness. For millennia beyond counting, they have dwelled in tranquility and peace. They are a slow, thoughtful, philosophic race, and they lived side by side in the billions, each linked with all the others, and each an individual, and each a part of the great racial whole. In a sense, they were deathless, for all shared the experiences of each. For the most part, their long lives are given over to abstract thought, to philosophy, to strange green dreams that neither you nor I can truly comprehend. Together, they have woven great symphonies of dreams, and those songs go on and on. So as it turns out, that's not from A Song of Ice and Fire. It's from a series called Tough Voyaging by George R.R. Martin. In a story called Guardians, our protagonist Tough discovers a race of hive-minded, blended consciousness aliens called the Mudpots. I squeezed Lyanna's hand tightly. "Read," I whispered. We read. I read bells. Not the sound of bells. No, the feel of bells, the emotion of bells. The bright clanging joy, the hooting, shouting, ringing loudness, the song of the joined, the togetherness and the sharing of it all. And that's not from Ice and Fire either. It's from a story called A Song for Leah. In that story, the protagonists, Rob and Lyanna, discover a being called the Grishka, who is a mold that lives in a cave and absorbs individuals into a heaven-like hive-mind state. It also can send out dreams. Once the pyramid is destroyed, their social structure virtually disintegrates. The adults either flee, hoping to join some other clan, or revert to near animal savagery. Winter is coming, Proctor, and much must be done. And that's not from Ice and Fire. It's from a story called And 7 Times Never Kill Man. It's about a peaceful woodland race called the Janshi, whose religion and society centers around black pyramids in the woods. And these black pyramids can also send out dreams. And there's many more stories that involve hive-minded races and blended consciousness. There's the hive-minded dream-sending fungus from Men of Greywater Station. There's the hive-minded Sand Kings from Sand Kings. There's the telepathic conspiracy of liars from The Way of Cross and Dragon. There's the immortal blended consciousness of Royd and his mother from Night Flyers. There's the immortal blended consciousness of Clarinomas from The Glass Flower. And there's the consuming blended consciousness monster from The Pear-Shaped Man. Not to mention there's the hive-minded undying of Karth. So why am I bringing this up? Well, it's just that in every instance where man has come in contact with a hive-minded race, there's been conflict. Humans are individuals, and we don't understand things that are different from us. I'm not sure how man could ever get along with the children of the forest, a race that can enter their dreams and watch them at all times. And I'm not sure how the children of the forest could ever accept man, a race that is ever expanding and destroying the environment. The children even say as much. In the world that men have made, there is no room for them. Or us. And of course, the children of the forest and man did war, for centuries, if not millennia. That is, until the pact. According to Maester Luwin, the first men and the children formed a pact that led to 4,000 years of friendship. Of course, this pact is incredibly one-sided. The first men were given the coastlines, the high plains, the bright meadows, the mountains, and the bogs. The children supposedly got the deep wood, forever. Except that we know that the first men took that too, as Deepwood Motte exists. So Luwin's story about the pact seems to have some bullshit in it. The first men signed an incredibly one-sided pact and still went back on it. And here's something else that's kind of weird about Luwin's story. He claims that the children fled when the Andals invaded. But the Long Night happened before the Andals invaded. And according to Old Nan, a hero had to spend years searching for the children during the Long Night. He had to travel to the Deadlands to find them, which I imagine is north of the Wall. So it sounds like the children were gone before the Andal invasion. Was it the first men who really drove the children of the forest out? And if there was a pact, why does Deepwood Motte exist? And if there was a friendship between the children and the first men, why did the Starks change their burial traditions? We know that the first men used to bury their dead in barrows, and we know that the first kings were buried in barrows as well. If they are followers of the old gods, it stands to reason that they would believe that they would enter the werewood net. That's certainly what a woods witch told Varamir Sixskin's family. Like the children of the forest, their knowledge would enter the werewood net and the collective. However, that's not how Starks are buried. Starks are buried in crypts to ensure that their spirits are locked inside. They seemingly don't want to join the werewood net or the children's collective. So the children seem to be at odds with humans, and they even seem to be at odds with the first men and the Starks. So I have to ask, why would the children ever help Bran? Why would they ever help humanity? Yes, in other stories, an old, wise, nature-focused guru selflessly helps our protagonist, whether it be Yoda or Hagrid or Gandalf or John the Baptist. But humanity essentially practiced genocide on the children of the forest. So what's in it for the children? Now maybe they just don't really like the others and just want to stop them, but the others don't seem to have any effect on the children of the forest. They can't enter their cave, and the others don't seem to be threatening any werewoods. So besides something dubious like fulfillment of prophecy, is there a single good reason that the children would ever help humanity? It seems that there's a good chance that the children of the forest aren't helping Bran, but using him. Let's go back to A Song for Leah. In this story, two telepathic investigators, Robb and Lyanna, are called in to investigate the Grishka. As I said before, the Grishka is a subterranean mold. The local alien population, the Shkeen, are all members of a religion that demands that they enter the mold when they get old. And old is only defined as between 40 and 50. Humanity exists on the planet and is thriving, but a small percentage of humanity has converted to the Shkeen religion and is entering the Grishka. And this is why Robb and Lyanna have been called in to investigate. So far our stories are the same. Both the Grishka and the werewoods are a hive-minded net of consciousness. Both the Shkeen and the children of the forest enter the blended consciousness because of their religion. And in both stories, humanity is a growing power that doesn't quite understand everything. Now in A Song for Leah, Lyanna unexpectedly joins the Grishka. Robb, who is Lyanna's lover, is devastated. But then Lyanna visits Robb in a dream. Robb, please, join us. Join me. It's happiness, you know, forever and ever, and belonging and sharing and being together. I'm in love, Robb. I'm in love with a billion people. Now Robb resists and tells his supervisor, but his supervisor concludes that the Grishka has a telepathic lure. I believe the Grishka uses a psi lure, a love lure if you will, to draw in its prey, something so powerful that it convinces men, even you, that it's God. Now it's hard to say who was luring Robb. Was it the Grishka? Was it the collective of Shkeen? Was it Lyanna? With a blended consciousness, it probably doesn't matter. And it's hard not to see the parallels between this and Bran. Who is calling him? Is it the werewoods? Is it the collective of children? Is it Bloodraven? With collective consciousness, does it matter? Now the most interesting and alarming thing about the story of the Grishka is that it didn't target humans until a telepath entered it. After the telepath entered it, human conversion started skyrocketing. And I imagine with Lyanna joined, that its ability became even better. So the collective gains the abilities of the individuals. and this explains why the collective of children want Bran. Adding powerful telepaths to the werewood net would increase the ability of the collective children to call out to others. This may explain why Bloodraven is in the net. But why would the werewoods call out to Bran? After all, north of the wall there are tons of telepaths. They're known as wargs or skin changers. Well, it's rather clear in our story that Bran is the most powerful telepath that we've come across. He is unique in that he has the ability to enter people. And it's not just Hodor that he can enter. At one point, it seems he almost accidentally enters Mira. Bran thinks about skin changing and thinks about Mira, and suddenly, she panics and runs from the room. The second most powerful warg we've come across is Varamir Sixskins, but he was unable to enter another person. And that's after a lifetime of warging. Bran is a small child, and he accidentally enters people. Imagine his potential when he tries to do things intentionally. And the uniqueness of this ability is not limited to Ice and Fire. In the story Night Flyers, which takes place in the same universe as most of George R.R. Martin's sci-fi stories, the characters specifically say that no human telepath has the power to seize somebody else's body, mind, or soul, even for an instant. So if and when Bran enters the werewood, just imagine what power he's handing over to the children of the forest. He's handing over to billions of children the ability to enter and control human minds. He's handing over to them the ability to enslave humanity. And we'll be talking a whole lot more about slavery in Part 2.